Everyone thought this woman was killed by knife wounds, but the truth left the police in shock. In the busy city of Los Angeles stood Hawthorne Hall, a co-ed hostel where boys and girls lived under one roof. The hostel was managed by Principal Sarah and the warden, Miss Elizabeth. On the surface, everything seemed disciplined, but among the residents were a few spoiled, wealthy boys who, because of their families' money and political connections, thought they were untouchable. One weekend night, 3 of these boys were drinking and partying loudly on the rooftop. Miss Elizabeth caught them and scolded them for disturbing the hostile environment. But drunk and arrogant, the boys turned aggressive and even tried to harass her. Elizabeth barely escaped that night. The next morning, Principal Sarah scolded them in front of everyone, and Elizabeth repeated the complaint openly, humiliated in front of the entire hostel. The boys stormed out, but inside, they were burning with rage. They had already decided they would take revenge. They began following and spying on Miss Elizabeth. One night, they saw her at the back of the hostel, talking to her boyfriend, George. She was asking him, "Do you really love me? Will you marry me or not?" Just then, another girl, Mary, appeared and shouted, "George, you're mine. You're going to marry me, not her." The boys, hidden in the shadows, were shocked by this drama. George scolded Mary and sent her away, then hugged Elizabeth and whispered, "Don't worry, I'll marry you, I promise." But the boys stepped out and mocked Elizabeth. "If you want privacy, why don't you take George to our room? Just let us watch it live." Enraged, Elizabeth slapped one of them and walked off. Now the boys were furious. This is it, they decided. Tonight will be her last night. At 9 p.m., they broke into her room. Elizabeth was lying weakly on the bed, almost unconscious, as if drugged. Without hesitation, the boys pulled out a knife and stabbed her repeatedly, leaving her lifeless. But when they tried to escape, they discovered the corridor door was locked from the outside. The guard on duty noticed something suspicious and alerted the principal, who quickly called the police. At first, the officers assumed it was a minor disturbance, but the situation escalated when the boys, in panic, grabbed 3 hostile girls and held them hostage with knives to their throats. Police installed a camera at the door to monitor the situation, but the boys spotted it and smashed it. An officer then disguised himself as a food delivery person and entered with a hidden spy cam. But the boys discovered the device, killed the officer, and hid his body. Now the police realized these weren't just spoiled kids. They were dangerous criminals. After hours of failed negotiations, the police made a plan. They released knockout gas through the hostel's air ducts. Within minutes, everyone inside was unconscious. The SWAT team stormed in, arrested the 3 boys, and safely rescued the hostages. But then came the real shock. The forensic report revealed that Miss Elizabeth hadn't died from stab wounds at all. She had already been poisoned before the knife attack. The supposed murder by the boys was only an aftershock. The case instantly took a new direction. Detectives pulled her phone records and traced her final movements. Just hours before her death, Elizabeth had been at a restaurant. Investigators rushed to check the security footage. What they saw on the CCTV chilled them to the bone. George himself was sitting with Elizabeth, feeding her a piece of dessert with his own hands. That very dessert contained the poison that had silently ended her life. The next morning, police raided George's apartment and arrested him. For more crime thriller stories, subscribe to the Crime Granny channel and hit the bell icon. The truth was finally uncovered. Miss Elizabeth had already been killed by the man she trusted the most. The three boys were guilty of their own crimes, but the real killer, the one who planned her death, was George.